We are back here for another week of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. We were dark yesterday. A nice card over at Woodbine for some Oaks action. John Velasquez came to town. He had a big day himself, and he was able to capture the Woodbine Oaks as well at a pretty good offering. So good day for him and a good day of racing over there for the thoroughbreds. But we're looking to kick off another week of action here on the harness side. We've got some nice talent, some nice young talent that we're going to display here this evening. I'm here alongside my Hall of Fame co-host Randy Waples, and both of us are fairly well rested after an off day yesterday.
Yeah, now before we kind of get into that there, just out of curiosity, John Velasquez, now that is a East Coast jockey or a West Coast jockey? Doesn't he usually ride the New York circuit?
Yeah, mostly in the New York circuit.
Right, yeah. Very recognizable name, though.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people said, if he's coming to town, he's got to win the Oaks. You figure you're going to get an underlaid price on him or whatever, and he paid $14. I think he was 6-1 as well.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, anytime a guy like him comes to town, he merits a lot of respect, and he put forth a nice patient ride there to get the job done.
Nice, cool,
yeah.
Right on. Okay.
Nice. Our colleagues did an excellent job as well.
They always do.
Jeff and Elisa, they did a really good job yesterday on the program as well. And yeah, they always do, but it's sometimes especially when the big shows come on or the big days. I mean, you just see just how good they are. As well at their jobs.
That's the big thing with those two is sometimes I think people take their talent for they don't really understand just exactly how talented these two are. And on the big days, I agree with you. They really do show it.
Yeah, and we're going to look to so they're going to have some big cards as well coming up forward, but we're going to have some big cards coming up shortly as well. Big cards everywhere. There were some big cards yesterday in the U.S. as well. There was some Plainridge action yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to watch some of the action out of town. We spoke about the rivalry. Twinbee Joe Fresh kind of said, hold your horses in the Dorothy Houghton when she was able to win in dominating fashion. But Sylvia Hanover, that's her first up. She said, hold on. This rivalry is back.
You know, one of the biggest takeaways I got from this, John, is I hadn't realized again, how big Sylvia Hanover is compared to Twinbee Joe Fresh. Look at this when they roll up alongside of each other now. Look at the size difference in these two. It's like you got a Ferrari up in front with a Lamborghini rolling up alongside of it. You know what I mean? And hey, listen. So far, it seems like they're taking their turns this year. Pounding away on one another. Sylvia got the job done. Twinbee Joe Fresh comes right back, gets the job done. Now, yesterday, it's going to be Sylvia's time to get the job done. But to the same effect, though, too. And I'm not taking anything away from Sylvia because she looked fantastic. But that wasn't Twinbee Joe Fresh.
No, and two things can be true. We're not going to take away anything from Twinbee Joe Fresh's Sylvia Hanover's performance yesterday. 147-2.
Unreal. That's an all-age track record.
Yep, 5/8 record on a 5/8 mile. So it was an incredible performance there, and just looking forward to watching these two go toe-to-toe as well. We had some H trotters in action as well. There's Logan Park, who was on the lead. Took some pressure first over, though, and ultimately it was Oka Svanstedt, who's sitting third on the rail with Up Your Dale, who seems to kind of be getting better. He was able to capitalize off a cozy trip there and get the job done.
Yeah, I kind of, at this point here, I thought two things were going to happen. Either Dougie was going to drive away from them or Yannick was going to come off of his back and beat him. But, Yannick ends up making a break with Lexus Cody. Logan just doesn't seem to have it tonight. And it looked at this point like Scotty Zeron's going to get the job done, but Oka splitting and gets the job done.
Yeah, it's a nice trotting division that we have as well. It seems like on the big track, it always seems to be like a horse like Periculum who seems to, have enough to pick up all the pieces late in the mile. We got a chance to see him last year when Scott Zeron did pick up the drive. Was it for the Maple Leaf Trot eliminations? And the performance that he put forth that night was incredible, and he's been able to carry that momentum throughout the year. So far, so good for him as well. Just a few starts. I mean, they've had to qualify him in between. He's had some stale dates in between because
he's
tough to find.
Nylander horse,
yes,
right?
Tough to find races for him, but every time he shows up for these big events, he always puts forth a sharp effort. But Up Your Dale for Oka, not the trotter that everybody kind of talks about or is on everybody's radar, but just a consistent performer.
He is, and another Oka horse that is so handy, on small tracks. He can get him out of there, get him in a good spot, and then he's always got good movement on the end of him, much like we used to see when Oka used to race Sebastian K. Another very, very handy horse, So one thing about Oka that I find, not only his horses can live on the outside, but they're pretty nice, comfortable little drives down on the inside too.
And he's got some contenders in the Hambletonian and the Hambletonian Oaks, who many believe might be the favorite with Yo Tilly, who's not eligible to the Oaks. So also won a bit Hanover, and he's got some other trotters that probably need to find a little bit more come the first Saturday in August, but he's always loaded for bear on the trotting side.
I would think, he definitely is, but I got a feeling there's a lot of people right now that are pretty happy that Yo Tilly's not eligible to the Hambletonian because, he is tough right now.
Yeah, raced on Saturday, and she just kind of put the afterburners on. I mean, Todd was speaking about her, he's so confident that he could do anything he wants with her, and she's responding.
It's the way she goes by horses. Like, it's not just that she's beating these horses, it's the way she's beating them, It's like she's in a completely different time zone.
Just a couple weeks away, Hambletonian Day. Looking forward to it as well. But as something we do on every show, we touch on some track plays, and we're going to look over Saturday night, and you could see no worse than third were horses at the three-quarter pole who ended up getting their picture taken.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we do the show tomorrow about what tonight is going to be, because we got a lot of 2-year-olds in here tonight. Now, Saturday night special, you know what it's like. It's usually a speed show, John. We've seen so many sub 50 miles last Saturday night, and it's tough to track horses down when they can carry that speed. But I think tonight it's a different ball game, different scenario, different bunch of horses. So I think when we come on tomorrow night and we do this, we're going to see numbers that are much further back than this.
Yeah, it wasn't like horses were coming a long way first up and found themselves third at the three-quarter pole. This graphic is pretty accurate. A lot of horses sitting first and second. I mean, how many horses converted off pocket trips over the course of Saturday night? A lot of horses who got a lot of respect on the front end. And we're, like you said, we're just going big miles and just kept rolling along.
Yeah, that's it. They're going fast miles right now.
All right, that was Saturday night. Now we're going to look forward to tonight. And you were busy on the replay machine tonight.
Yes,
There's a lot of replays to show over the course of this card. It's always fun when you get to highlight 2-year-old races because, obviously sometimes we see something that catches our eye either from qualifiers or from their first career starts. And we're looking at a field of 9 now after a scratch of the 2-horse Unforgiven. There was an impressive performance by Dr. Day in his career debut, but there's some other ones in here, Randy, that I thought raced pretty well, and there's one in particular you'd like to highlight here.
Yeah, where did you go with Dr. Dave?
I used Dr. Dave in for second or third.
I got him in for second as well. So the replay that we're going to show you, my top pick is going to be in this race, is going to be the one horse. That is going to be Speak Softly to Me. For Louis Waugh and Dave Maneri. Louis and Dave, were a team with this one in its first start. This is a son of Sunfire Blue Chip out of a Better's Delight mare. Big wheels on the end of it there for this guy. Louis makes a first over move. He's not a big horse either, but boy, he can throw his legs out there. Keeps coming forward here. Nobody is able to, he's not going to be able to get the job done. The horse on the outside is just going to get there. Takes a little bit of a bump there for the little guy. Horse gets up alongside of him, and now he pushes forward. Horse that maybe, just a little bit of greenness on the end of it, but the speed is there. So Speak Softly to Me is the way that I'm going to go in this race. Dr. Dave in for second. Now, there's another horse in here, though, John, that we're not going to show you the replay on him, but you're going to have to take my word for it. Twinbee Stanley. I thought that he was a pretty good effort last week. James coming back to him. And then what about the 3-horse? There's a bit of a buzz about this 3-horse. A lot of equipment changes were going to be coming in on this guy.
Yeah, just a horse who qualified superb, I thought. And then he came into his career debut and had to take on the likes of Dad. And there was a lot of buzz around Dad, who got beat in his career debut, but he got defeated by Till the Cows Come Home, who's done nothing but put forth good efforts so far. I thought last time, to me, it looked like, Bob wanted to settle him in the hole. And I think the colt just took off on him. So we're seeing some equipment changes now, some bridle changes as well. We see some shoeing changes. Those changes, are they going to maybe keep him a little bit more calm? Because it looked like he had a mind of his own out there for Bob.
Yeah, well, the first thing they're doing is they're taking the blind bridle off. That's usually what the bridle that fires them up the most. Okay. They're going to go to a set of cancy backs. So he's going to be able to see what's beside him, and he's going to be able to see what's in front of him. But as can't see back, he cannot see the driver in behind him. So maybe he's getting a little bit keyed up when when they look back and they see Bobby back there. And then the flops to steel in front. Now, that's an interesting change because technically, a lot of times when a horse has sore feet, they have flip-flops on. And if they have sore feet, sometimes they can get really, really unruly. They just get mad because their feet are stinging them and they don't like it. So it's interesting that he's taking the flops off and going to steel. So maybe this horse had a bit of foot issues, going into that race, and maybe that's what fired him up. Either way, both changes should kind of, bring him back down again, and Bob, should have no issues with him tonight.
Yeah, I'm just of the belief that when you see a horse qualify so well both times, the first effort really didn't go as planned. I can't say it was a bad effort, but it's not what I saw in the morning preps. But then you see the body language of Bob, you see the body language of the colt, and you say to yourself, you know what, I think I can forgive that effort last time out and give him another chance. I think it's important to stay open-minded about young horses because it's their first career start. Things can change week to week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And trust me, so, the best one now, not necessarily is going to be the best one come super final night.
I know a lot of people like to get excited and high on their youngsters, especially after qualifiers or after their first career outing. Things can change very quickly, though.
I always looked at it, John, as 2 seasons. The early part that you're going to get money and the late part that you're going to get money. And I'll tell you, one of those guys that to me never really had his horses ready early in the year, but boy, oh boy, could he ever pick up the late money? Bob McIntosh. At one time, he was the leader in the Breeders' Crown trophies. And what comes at the end of the year, the Breeders' Crown. And that's when his horses would be getting good.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of getting money, though, race number 2 or some young horses that people are high on, we're going to see a couple of divisions of the Millard Farms series here. We're going to get the first division here. We've got a field of 7. And hard not to really like what you've seen from the Captain Corys. We spoke on that a bit last week. Dustin Jones, debuted a Captain Corey last week on July 11th. I thought that was a really good effort. And we see Bob Young premiering a nice Captain Corey who Louis Waugh guided to victory. Scott Young was driving the stablemate in that effort. Halton Hills, one that you and I were high on in that outing. Captain Code was the one who was victorious in his debut. You like him to double up here, though.
Yeah, I don't see why he couldn't. Louis gave him a really, really, nice kind of trip. Easy enough. Just didn't really make a move till around the last turn. Little bit of a move out of there, so he shows some gate speed. I think that Scott's obviously going to know him coming from his dad's barn. He's probably sitting behind this guy every morning, and that's the way that I'm going to go. Captain Code. I like Royal Captain as well. The Dustin Jones one from the outside, but it is going to be a start from the outside. He's got to come to the other ones where Scotty's right in the middle of the gate. I think it might give him a little bit of an advantage with Captain Code. So that's the route that I'm going to go in here, and we're going to take a replay, show you the replay of Captain Code in his last start. And I mean, it's not that I have anything to do with the horse, but every once in a while, as a driver, you'll see, a driver pick up a drive for a stable that he's obviously not going to do much driving for in the Bob Young stable, and that's Louis Waugh, because Scott does all the driving, you know what I mean? But still, just the absolute perfect first lifetime start he gives this horse. I mean, Scott and Bob must have been ecstatic with the way that he raced this horse. He is going to get the best of Scott right here with the other Bob Young trainee, Halton Hill. And to tell you the truth, I got them down, so I got the Youngs as sweeping the Millard series tonight. So Captain Code, going to be the way that I'm going to go with this guy. And then Royal Captain, that Dustin Jones one that you started the topic up with from the outside, he's going to be my second pick in here. Really liked him, and to what you said, really been impressed with the Captain Corey so far.
Yeah, and both horses coming off just one qualifier, both of them coming off one career starts, both in winning fashion as well. Captain Code probably having to do a little bit more work, but we also, he qualified a bit late too, though, a few days after Royal Captain, I should say, and he didn't have a couple qualifiers like the stablemate, though. He went off as the 8-5 choice, and to your point, Louis still had to pull first over with him, but did it with ease. Gave him a couple of reminders and was able to go by. Royal Captain, though, I thought the body language was superb on this guy on July 11th. Just a wrapped-up winner. I loved everything about him in that performance.
I agree. I think Dustin Jones has come back with some power this year.
Yep.
He's got some real nice horses. Now, before we move off this race, give me your thoughts on why McClure come off of South Winchester, who I have in for third for the horse on the rail, iced for Justin Turcotte. Now, why would that be? Would there be, his last charted line was June the 28th. Would there be some big mile in between? Because I just find it a very, to me, it was kind of a bit of a weird sort of a situation. You know what I mean? He's going to a horse that has showed basically nothing, and coming off of a horse that's, to me, has showed quite a bit.
Yeah, a little bit of an intriguing decision there, right? Especially because he does drive for Stephen Boston's as well, driving P.L. Spencer's, one of the top 3-year-old trotting colts in the division, and Ice never got a chance to sit behind this guy, at least as far as what we see on the lines.
Yeah, well, he just did the one Claude could do, and then Justin Turcotte, but there has to be a reason for it, you know what I mean? So I would myself, if you're out there questioning that, I'd do the same as me. Look what the body language is bringing you when it comes onto the track. If it looks real good, you know, I'd maybe put a few dollars on it, because McClure's going there for some reason.
One to monitor for sure in race number 2. We're gonna move on to race number 3 here. Some grassroots action for 2-year-old pacing colts. We've got a field of 10 here. I found this to be a super tough race to handicap. I liked odds on Bullfrog when he was coming into his debut, and he was scratched in that outing on July 8th. Bob McClure is going to pick up the drive on this guy. Tyler Moore was listed, but Bob McClure is going to be picking up this drive. Middle of the gate draw off a couple of nice qualifying efforts. One that I used on my ticket as well. I went to the direction of the 3-horse Major Money. One that I thought raced good on debut, and you thought a couple raced pretty good last time out as well, him being one of them.
Yeah, him being one of them. So we're going to show you the replay on Major Money, and we're going to show you the replay on Corona Sealster, who's going to be my top pick in here, and he's also going to be Louis' top pick in here as well. The two on the outside, DA Let's Dance for McNair and Jasper Hill for Tony Beaton. I think both of these horses are more than live too. I got Jasper Hill in for 3rd, DA Let's Dance in for 4th. So here is Major Money, I think, as we're showing this one. Corona Sealster on this one. So what's interesting to me about this one is, number one, this is Louis' pick. He's got different ways to go. DA Bodacious making a break there, but he's got multiple ways to go, and he decides to go with Corona Sealster. But what I think is really interesting then with this guy, though, is his first grassroots on July the 8th, John. He goes off at 25 to 1 that day. Then his very next race, his odds come down to $1. So obviously I wasn't the only one that liked him in that grassroots, because I thought that was a pretty good effort that he put in there in against Dr. Dave and Better Script that night. So I do think that he's live. I think that Louis kind of maybe showing us that this is the way that he wants to go. So Corona Sealster is the way that I'm going to go. But let's take a look at Major Money, the other replay that was sent in. The biggest reason, I like the way that he raced. I think that Louis didn't do a whole lot with him. But the biggest reason why I'm sending this in, John, is that you and I both know that these connections, James McDonald and Nick Gallucci, they take so much support. We really need to show this one to see, for the people that didn't get a chance to watch this guy race. So I thought this was a really, really nice effort by Major Money. Louis Waugh, again, doing the driving on this guy. Dad is the horse up on top that we're all talking about, but Jody's going to split here, and oh, no, this isn't the race. No, Jody isn't going to get to him here. But here we come with Louis. And like I said, first start, I thought this was a really, really good effort in against those kinds of horses. So throwing Major Money in for 2nd with the return of James. And I'm going to go Corona Sealster with Louis on this one. His choice, and that's going to be my choice, the 4.
Yeah, a lot of support, to your point, with Corona Sealster last time out. I was a little bit perplexed with the support that he took. I thought it was a good effort 2 starts back. I just didn't expect that effort to translate to taking that much support. Important to note, as we saw in the replay, he was going to be 3rd in that outing.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to finish 3rd in that outing. He was able to grab the place spot just because D.A. Bodacious did jump it off. Jasper Hill, what do we do with him from the 10-hole, though? Because you liked this guy last time out. You thought it was a couple of conservative qualifying approaches by driver Doug McNair. He's going to have to work a little bit harder from the outside, but I didn't mind the way he was moving late.
No, I didn't either, but I think that that's the same sort of a situation, though, is that I don't think that Dougie's going to get crazy out him from the 10-hole. So from the 10-hole, where is he going to get away? I got him moved in for 3rd, simply over that. Not because I don't think he's got the talent. It's just that how hard are they going to be with him from the 10-hole? That's what scares me a little.
I found this to be a tricky race.
Very.
I could go so many different ways. Wouldn't really shock me if several in here got the job done. But a couple contenders drawing the outside, including D.A. Let's Dance, who has been sharp in two starts, just got out sprinted last time out.
Yeah, I think both of those outside horses are more than capable of coming up with a big effort in here. Dougie's going to move away from his dad's horse for the Tony Beaton horse, but they're picking up a really, really nice replacement with Trevor Henry.
All right, that kicks off the early pick 4. Some grassroots action there, and what's a competitive opening leg. We're going to skip over to race number 5 here. More grassroots action, 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings. We've got a field of 10 here. Morning line favorite Brindle. He put forth a really nice debut last time out as the overwhelming choice, and some other ones put in some nice debuts as well. Twinbee John B, who rallied from the back of the pack. We saw that replay when you showed Speak Softly to Me. He was the horse from the outside who was making a lot of gains there, who found himself into the winner's circle. Did you go back to Brindle here?
Yeah, yeah, and we're going to show you the replay on Brindle as well. Just a really, really good effort. Went to the front and then just completely overpowered these horses. So let's take a look at this son of Bulldog Hanover, and this is Brindle. And out of a Western Ideal mare, boy, oh boy, John, I sure do like the cross on this guy. Cabrini Hanover onto Bulldog Hanover, two, unbelievably talented horses. And this is going to be the son of them. So Brindle, let's take a look at this guy, Dr. Moore, again, with this guy, Jody up on top with him, and he just keeps moving forward. It's not that he's going to do it flashy. You can see Jody's chasing him, but definitely is going to get the job done. And look at the separation he puts in between him and the rest of them. And really, really looks good, right to the wire there for Brindle. So that's the route that I'm going to go. But there is one in here that... Going for broke. Now, that's 9 horse here for Tony Beaton. Jonathan Drury had a win with him his first start, and then last week he had the 10 hole, and in the gold, nothing went his way. It was just he tried to put him into play. It was just one of those situations where nothing was working for him. So now this week they're going to put Dougie McNair up on him. Now, I don't see him doing anything goofy with this horse, even though he's coming from a gold dropping to the grassroots, because he does have an outside post position, but I do think he's talented, and I do think that Jonathan did a really, really good job with him that first time that he raced him. So I'm going to throw him in on the bottom. What I look at him as a bit of a dangerous horse. If he's long odds, this guy, and those inside horses, you're not real happy with the price, I would take a real strong look at this Going for Broke.
Yeah, after his first qualifier, Dominic Chiaravelli, he decided he was going to purchase this guy, and the second qualifier wasn't anything to kind of rave home about, but he was able to put forth a winning effort in his debut there, a strong showing, but a tough ask to start from the 10 hole in your second career start in a gold and go up against the likes of that group. The Bojangles until the cows come home. I mean, a lot of negatives going against him, especially with the draw that he had to work with. To your point about Brindle Hanover, obviously some reminders by Jody, but we touched on it last week. Same thing in the qualifiers. Guy that just seems to be a little bit on the lazy side, but when Jody has gotten after him, he's responded. He paces forward and he paces hard. So the one that's going to have every opportunity to double up here. But Twinbee John B, we haven't seen gate speed from him, Randy. He's a horse who closed really nicely. Maybe are we going to see the same approach that we saw last time out from him trying to come from way off?
I'm not really sure. It'll probably just matter of how it shakes out. If they're going out of there hard, then he already showed that he can race from off. I just don't think they want to get too far back with him, but they don't necessarily have to go out of there too hard with him either. But again, I agree with you though. Did race good and could be king. Another McDonald Gallucci tandem. I got this guy in for second. I'm not going to show you that last start, but trust me, that was a pretty good one as well. Travis Cullen subbing for James that night. The
Run to the Hills, another son of Bulldog that we're going to see. I thought he raced pretty good in his lifetime debut, one that I think can hopefully take a step forward here tonight. That wraps up the early pick 5. We're going to kick off the late pick 5 in race number 6. We're scratched down to a field of 6. We spoke about one Bob Young trainee that caught our attention in his career debut. Most eyes, or maybe a lot of hype, was about this guy, Halton Hill, the current morning line favorite at 5-2 here in race number 6. He's going to take even more support with the scratch of Captain Mika, a horse who I thought likely maybe just needed that start. 10 hole, made a couple moves in that outing, and a replay an effort that you want to highlight here as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that he raced really good, but I just think that there was a couple of things that maybe led to him getting picked off on the end of it there. So we're going to show you the start of this race from the 10 hole, because he takes a pretty good knock going into the first turn, like not interference, but I mean, he has to really make some ground going into this first turn. Scotty doesn't have any choice. I mean, he can't get him away way at the back. They're so spread out, 7, 9, and the 8 horse there. So he does what he does, and you can just see him. His body language is great. He's floating him along, going to get to the front here at this point, but then the inside horse kind of pushes a little bit more, leaves him out here a little bit longer, and then it's going to take him a little bit to finally get to the front. Now he's finally going to get there, And then coming around the last turn, there was a remove which put him into the 2-hole. Now he's got to come with him again because he couldn't stay behind the horse that removed to the front. You know what I mean? He had to come with it again. So now this is another move out of the 10-hole with this guy. And again, with the body language on Scott, he's trying to do it as easy as possible because he does not want to race this horse multiple moves first start from the 10-hole. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I thought it was a really, really good effort. He is going to get beat, yes. But like I said, multiple moves, first lifetime start out of the 10-hole. At this point, it looks like he's good to go. I just think he got a little bit tired right on the end of it. And this is the difference right there. 3/4, half a length, whatever. I think that he can come back. He's going to have the 3-hole to work with in here tonight. Captain Mika, which was going to be one of his biggest competitors in this race, is now scratched. I think he looks really good in here, so I'm going to come right back to Halton Hill.
Yeah, I was a little bit, of course, 10-hole or not, I thought that he probably still should have finished off that mile. I still thought he got a favorable trip, but again, had to be used a couple of times. I don't know if he just got a little bit green on the lead when he cleared, but it looked like, the other two rivals were kind of coming to him again. But a horse though, Randy, tonight in this spot, I mean, he's going to get all the respect, not only from the betting public, but I think from the rest of the field. I think this is a horse you want to follow tonight. I want your quick thoughts, though, on the 6 horse, I Drink, She Drives. Got away in a bad spot from the rail in what was his first career start. Now he gets to start with a better draw to work with here tonight. I thought he was moving well late in the mile. I think he's going to need to step up, though, to beat Bob Young's charge.
I originally threw him in for 4th with a scratch of Captain Mika. He's now going to be my 3rd pick in this race. I agree. I thought it was a really, really good one. The big thing is, though, is that is tonight the night that he's going to teach this guy how to leave? Because so far we haven't seen any. And if he gets too far back, if he gives up too much ground to Scotty Young, I think that Scotty can just power away from them at some point. The big thing that you got to remember with Scotty Young is, like with his horses, he took a lot of buzz going into this race, but he did not go off as the favorite. He made multiple moves out of the 10-hole, and he dropped his best time from 2 minutes to 57. Dropped 3 seconds in his first lifetime start. That is a big drop down, 15 lengths if you want to do it that way. So I thought it was an incredibly good effort, and I'm hoping that he can come back with an even better one.
Yeah, and the only difference is between the stablemate, he had 2 qualifying preps versus Captain Code, who had 1, but Captain Code was able to reign victorious there. But there's going to be some big chalk to kick off that pick 5, at least from the odd sports standpoint. We're going to skip over to race number 8, more 2-year-old action here, and more grassroots action for 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings. Major scratch in this race because the 6 horse better script, 3-1 morning line. I thought we were going to get a much lower number on this $8,000 yearling purchase. This son of Better Than Cheddar. This guy really caught a lot of eyes on his big track debut. I thought it was a good effort over at Georgian. It looked to me maybe Brett thought he was home and cool in that race, and he got picked off by Cabo San Lucas. But that stretch rally, Randy, that was pretty impressive. But now it changes the complexion of this race. You were going to go to him on top, but you're going to go a different direction now. Who's the pick that you're going to have inherit here?
Who's the victim of Randy's picks? It's going to be the 1 horse, Never Leave Harlan. Yeah, better script. They're really, really looking forward to seeing this guy race tonight there. I was really impressed with this guy in his last, but, he's under the weather. He's under the weather, and we don't want to see him like that. So 1 horse, Never Leave Harlan. We're going to show two other replays in this race. Which one are we going to show first, Producer Luke? D.A. Bodacious. Okay, so the first one we're going to show you is D.A. Bodacious. Now, I had this horse up on top in his first start. My opinion, the horse is a winner at some point, but he does end up making a break. We're getting a hobble change sent in tonight from Danny Legacy. He's going to snug them up an inch. He's going to go from 57.5 to 56.5. Now, look at this. At this point, to me, this horse is a winner. Look at the body language on Trevor. Now he'll throw in the smallest step right there, and then now he starts to get mixed up. The legs aren't coming the same way they were, and he, probably interferes with himself, makes a break, but then comes right back pacing again. Now, at this point here, he brings him back onto the track, and, you could see that the hobbles were maybe a little bit loose, but that's what you like about a Danny Legacy, is that he'll let a horse try to learn his gait. He'll risk putting a long hobble up on a horse. I love that about the guy. I can't stand when I see horses going out there and winning races with a really cracking snug hobble on them there. It just makes me cringe. but I think that this guy was well on his way to victory lane. So I'm going to throw him in for third. Again, better script is the way that I'm going to go. But now let's take a look at Never Leave Harlan. He's going to be my top pick in this race. He ended up with a nice second last start. Now again, Dougie McNair qualified this guy both times, finished third both times, but is yet to drive this guy. Louis was sub both times, had a third and then a second in this race. And this is with the last quarter in 27 flat. And it's the horse that we showed you this replay a little bit earlier. This is Brindle. And this is Louis coming on the outside with this guy here. And I mean, I thought that Dougie's horse raced really, pretty good in here as well. But Louis got by him. And, I like the body size on Louis' colt. I think he's really going to come out of this good. Now he's going to go back to Dougie in here. So he's going to be my top pick with the scratch of better script. But I got to tell you, and Winsun Tuxedo, horse finished third in here. I thought he raced incredibly well, picking up McClure tonight. But, D.A. Bodacious scares me, John. He really does. If it's enough of a difference with the hobbles being brought in an inch, he was on way to victory lane last week.
Got a chance to catch up with the connections of D.A. Bodacious as well, because a horse who I thought, like you, was a winner. I thought pretty much we can guarantee was a winner. Got them to say that Trevor said he was holding on for dear life after he popped the plugs. He's just a colt who got anxious all the time in the qualifiers, and that's why they qualified him with an ear hood and no cones. And he's trained like that his whole life. So last week when he had to pull the plugs, I think it might have spooked him hearing the other sounds in there. So it could just be a colt being a colt, though, but it could be some other stuff as well. So I think they're going to tinker with some of the earplugs and hope that he doesn't get spooked as much. But a horse that I think can come back with a bounce-back effort there.
I agree with you. I probably, like I said, I really like better script. I thought Never Leave Harlan's going to get a good spot off the rail. I thought they'd be a little bit, tentative, I guess the word I would be looking for with D.A. Bodacious, but with the fact that they pretty well have it narrowed down to what they think it was the problem, and bringing the hobbles in an inch, he should be good to go tonight. Yeah, I
appreciate the feedback there from Team Legacy as well. Looking forward to seeing if his colt can bounce back. They're hoping he can put forth a good effort because we've got Battle of Waterloo eliminations coming up as well. And if this guy puts forth a good effort, I think that makes the decision even easier. And they really do believe that he's a gold caliber colt. So I think that's some pretty high praise for this guy.
He was definitely showing me that he was pretty talented last week.
All right, we're going to move on to race number 9, and we've got 5-year-olds and youngers, non-winners at 2 races or 20,000 lifetime. We're going to switch gates now to the trot. A morning line favorite is going to be the 3-horse PL Stevie, one that I've gone in her direction a few different times. I thought she got a clean trip last time out. I can't say that I'm not intrigued by the fact that James McDonald's going to be aboard. We've seen James pick up some of these Christopherou drives in the past, and they seem to race well at first asking, but there is some value here if you go digging. You elected to go digging here, and you want to highlight a certain rival's effort, and I think she's going to be a price as well.
I think she's going to be a price, no doubt about that. It's just a matter of what kind of an effort that she's going to come up with there. So let's talk a little bit about I Believe in Angels for Meg Crone off the rail tonight in race number 9 with Travis Cullen. Now you can see last week she made a break coming out of there, but there was broken equipment. It ended up being, I think, the trotting hobble or something like that was. But what I want you to pay special attention to here is, number 1, her middle half was 54 flat. And then she polishes that off with 28 and 2. So she trots the last 3 quarters in 122 and 2 with a broken head check there that's bouncing around there right now. I mean, she was so far out of it, and here she is on the end of the mile. She's made up all this ground, and she's still moving forward. I don't think I normally would have used her up in here. There's a couple that I like better, but I've always said, I'll support any horse that shows me big form. And the speed that she showed me last week, I'm not sure if there's anybody in this race that could have come up with fractions like that. Whether she can do it, in the right places and get the job done, I think she can. So I'm going to go to I Believe in Angels in here, take a stand with her. Garnett's not even using her in his top 4, but that is a ridiculous last 3 quarters. And if she can somehow even get to the quarter in 30 seconds, if she's able to pull off a last 3 quarters in 122 and change, I just don't see anybody being able to hold her off.
Glad you mentioned the middle half, though, because even if you watch the replay, you don't really see the same level of pop in the stretch. But there's a reason for that because of what you said. I mean, a 54 flat middle half for a 3-year-old trotting filly, that's huge. Yeah, so I mean, and she still made up a lot of ground after the break. So one that I think is going to get ignored there, but you're going to go value shopping in race number 9 as well. So would be a good use in that pick 5 sequence. I know one that I'm going to throw in as well, but can't say I'm willing to go all in on this one. We're going to move over to race number 11. This is the finale here on this 11 pack, and morning line favorite Windblown at 3-1. You and I both went to this guy, not the effort that maybe we expected last time out. We know he's capable of a lot more. 10-hole or not, maybe he just needed a tightener back onto the big, a second tightener back onto the big track. But one that I didn't use on top here this evening. Did you go back to him?
No, I threw him in for second. You?
I threw him in somewhere on the ticket, but.
Yeah, I threw him in for second, same as you. You know, I used him up on top. I thought between the class, you know, I know he missed a little bit of time, but between, you know, the class that he was coming into and the 10-hole, whether or not I thought that would just inflate our price and we would be good to go with this guy. Haven't quite seen the pop from him that we're, you know, kind of used to seeing him, but this is a, you know, nice little buffer for him. So throwing him in for second, Bet the BB is the way that I'm going to go in this race here. He's got the rail. I think that if Travis can stay close to Wind Blown or Booming Economy, if they happen to, you know, elect to chop this mile, I think he can come up with a big effort. I know he's only 2 for 21 this year, but he was 6 for 35 last year. I do believe that this horse knows how to win races. I think he's not a bad little horse, this guy. So this is his last start with Travis Cullen. Had the 3-hole working with in the 37,000 claimer. B. Stoney, dirty little piglet, those kinds of horses. This is him right down in the middle. Doesn't do a whole lot in here, but you know, at the end of it, he's still coming forward. I like the fact that he's got him up on a horse's back at all times when he's moving on. He's on a horse's helmet. He moves forward. He shows interest. I'm kind of going to go with him because the number one, well, Garnet is using him up on top. Number one, I thought, you know, I could get some kind of a price with him. And number two, I was looking for a horse that had the gate speed that could maybe get out of there and land on either the 2 or the 3 horses back. So Bet the BB is the way I'm going to go.
Garnet Barnes still using him on top. Kevin Ploucha using him on top. You're using him on top. So a popular selection there. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get anywhere near the morning line, but good effort there. I'm going to hope that he can maybe land on Rockabilly Rebels back because I wouldn't mind him chopping out that mile. Trouble trip for him last time, one that I'm going to go to here in this finale and hope that he can get a much cleaner effort there. All right, we're going to touch on some stats and standings here. A lot that we covered. A lot that we unpacked there, but there was plenty that we needed to highlight as well. Top 4 circuit drivers from last week. Everybody kind of hovering around the same in regards to earnings, but Bob McClure over $200,000 there, leading in win percentage as well. A big week for him.
Huge week for him. Yeah, big week. You know, Louis with the 44 starts and the 10 wins. Bobby 41 starts. 10 wins, and James winning the race on starts with 45 and coming in again with another 20% week for James McDonald, off to another viciously good start in there. All 4 of those guys had a great week.
And Louis Waugh and James McDonald, a busy Saturday for them most likely with Hambletonian eliminations on the horizon as well. Landing on time, likely to be there, and a Motorcon Legacy likely to be there as well. Top 4 circuit trainers from last week, and Kyle Fellows, Dave Maneri, Carl Jamieson, and Sean Stacy all on this list. Big win percentage for Carl Jamieson.
Yeah, definitely, but I think I'm taking more along the fact that if that's Sean Stacy's impression of Jack Nicholson right there. I thought he's looking pretty good. With that big smile on there. But yeah, you know, big week for these guys. And it always amazes me, you know, because you got your certain trainers all through the winter, and then all of a sudden come stake season, it seems like they kind of disappear, and then it's all, you know, usually different barns up here with that. Carl Jamieson off to a phenomenal year so far. 60% on this guy.
I think you were on either 2 or maybe all of his winners last week. I mean, a couple of grassroots.
Filth and 5th and 5.
And Out of Ice.
Out of Ice.
Maybe you were on the 3rd winner of that week. I don't know, but good effort there. A good week for Carl Jamieson despite limited starters as well. Okay, we talked about throughout the card. We talked about it throughout some replays, I should say. We're going to go and talk about this early pick 5. You and I both submitting some ticket ideas. Let's hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, I went pretty skinny on this one, John. So race, the 2 singles that I came up with, race number 1, I went Speak Softly and Dr. Dave. In race number 2, I keyed the Captain Code, the Bob Young Trotter, race number 3. I keyed Corona Sealster. You know, that's a lot. That's a big key for me, whether or not I'm going to be able to get the job done with that one. And then race number 4, I go Tactical Strike and Devil's Arch. I think pretty logical. Race number 5, back to the one horse with Brindle, and then going for Broke. I threw him in there. I think he could come up with a big effort in here, and if he does, I got a feeling there I'm going to knock a lot of people out.
I think you might knock a handful of people as well with Corona Sealster, and that's a big stand that you're taking in race number 3, a race that I find to be competitive. I'm going to go 3 deep here in the opener. I'm going to hope that illicit behavior can kind of bounce back from what will look like a little bit of a, different performance from his qualifiers. I think he might have been a little bit of a handful. I'm going all in though on Royal Captain. I think that that colt was superb in debut, but I know that it's likely a 2-horse affair. I'm going to go 3 deep in race 3, the same 2 as you in race number 4. I'm going to make a Run to the Hills my best bet. I'm going to hope that I like this guy as in his debut. I picked him as my winning debut. I'm hoping that he can bounce back here in his second outing, but I know that Brindle is going to be very tough, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, just the way that he looked last year, and with the fact that he's out of a Western Ideal mare, the great Cabrini, but that he's out of a Western Ideal mare, to me, he's only going to get stronger as the year goes on.
We've got grassroots action tonight to highlight, but we've got some gold action to focus on tomorrow, and the return of Chantilly.
Who?
Chantilly, and she got to prep with a qualifier, Randy. I thought she looked excellent.
You know how good she looked?
How good?
Ask me.
How good did she look?
She looked so good that Garnet made her his best bet.
Well, hard to knock. Hard to knock her being the most probable winner on the card, though.
It is very. Look at that winner circle, John. Wow.
Yeah, busy.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
James McDonald is a very popular guy.
Yeah.
I think they're all out there to see him, aren't they?
I would have to say. Nice.
Yeah, it's always nice to see something special like this, eh, John?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Field of 6 here tomorrow. So again, that qualifying effort has her prepped, I think, for what's going to be a good performance. And we just like to see the stars in action. So the fact that we get to see her in action tomorrow night, I think, is going to be something we're all looking forward to.
$210 winner.
210, yeah. 210 across the board. Rightfully so, though, because she's been super throughout her career. No blemishes to date, Randy. She hasn't gotten beat. All right, we're going to focus on some plays of the night. You touched on a few of your selections. A lot of ones on that plays board.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the rail, but, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So my all-in's going to be Corona Sealster on him. I really liked him in here. I think that Louis, has maybe played his hand a little bit, I'm hoping. In race number 4, it's going to be Tactical Strike is going to be my Waples Watch. In race number 9, it's going to be Believe in Angels for Worth a Look. And Beat the Favorite is going to be Bet the BB in race number 11.
All right, and for me, plays of the night, going to be all in for Royal Captain. I'm going to hope that he can get the job done in race number 2. My best bet, Run to the Hills. I like this qualifying effort. I like this career debut, hoping that he can take a step forward and hopefully just a little bit more pace to chase because he was behind some stagnant flow. Rebound, D.A. Bodacious there. Not going to get anything close to that 10-1 morning line, especially with the scratch of Better Script. And my spot play, Rockabilly Rebel. You and I going to be going head-to-head in the finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're both more or less throwing spot plays in the end of it. Who do you think, look at your book there, who do you think is going to go off as favorite in the last? Is it going to be Windblowing?
I don't think it'll be Windblowing off
I don't
that
either.
performance. I really could see Bet the BB off that 26 and change final quarter. I could see that one taking a lot of support. Booming Economy as well.
Could you? Could you? Yeah, well, guess who I see is going off as favorite?
Rockabilly
I see
Rebel?
Rockabilly
Okay.
Rebel
All right.
going
We'll
off
have
as
to make
favorite.
a coffee wager. Coffee wager. I'm just trying to drive down your price a little bit low. All right, there's some plays of the night from our other resident handicappers. There's Ghislaine Paquette. I drink, she drives. Pay attention. I would have to say so as well. Phoenix, best bet for Garnet Barnsdale. One looking to double up here as well in a favorable pop-up series. And Kevin Ploucha, Bet the BB. He's in agreement with you. Spot play on that Jody Cullen trainee in the finale. All right, we're getting set here for a Monday 11 pack. I think this is a good wagering card, and we're excited to see some of these youngsters on display tonight.